Hello guys, welcome back. This time let's talk about OP, objects in general. So, what makes objects? Basically everything. And just remember before we start off that objects are everywhere and you should consider everything as objects, okay? But we'll get back to this again later on. So for now, there's two things you should know inside of an object. Every object has properties and it has functionalities, or in this case, think of actions or things you could do nonstop, while properties would be attributes and sorts of like your eyes color, your height, width, so forth, so on. Okay? So properties kind of like values, while functions kind of like stuff you could do. Okay, so everything could have this. Like let's say a box would have the height, width, and so forth, so on, how much it could hold, and actions, it could open the box or it could close the box, right? So we're gonna take one example here, one big one. Let's take person because we're all people, right? So it should be pretty easy. So for properties or attributes, we'll use different terms every time, but for a person, for the property section, it has the eye color, the height, the weight, the hair color, the skin tone, how many fingers you have, I don't know, arms, etc. Okay. While for the functionalities, a person could jump, could study, could run, could sleep, could whatever you could think of, okay? Whatever you guys usually do, right? You guys could go have fun with friends, call a friend, so for so on, right? Well, again, properties would be like, the guy is deaf or he can't hear or, he's sleeping, like a Boolean sleeping. Now, let's go to this classroom. As you're seeing everything inside this classroom, you should take it as objects itself. Like I said, in the world of OOP concept, object-oriented programming, everything is an object. So if we focus on this girl over there, that's a person object. She has hair color brown. She has a what do you call a headband. She could write. She studies. She's currently looking at you, right? Looking would be a function. In this case, think of looking, and it takes a parameter. Look at what, right? When you call the function look at, it would look at somewhere and so forth, so on, right? And the next person right next to it is also a object. And in this case, it would have the same parameters, the same functionality as the other girl. And we also have a paper drawings in the back. We have the planetariums on the top. What else? Anything you see in the room, consider an object. Actually, consider everything as object. The classroom itself, which are holding all these things, are an object. The wall itself is an object where you add multiple other objects onto it. Okay? So what I'm trying to say to you guys is consider everything as something that you have in real life and you could play around with it. Noticing that the values on it or the different aspects of it would be the attributes, right? The properties. While the functionalities it could do, like let's say the pencil and the eraser could erase and so forth so on, would be functions of that object. Okay? So having this universe of objects, the coolest thing is we could refer to one or the other object, having a bit of different attributes, and ask it to do something. Right? So for now, I'm still circling all these things, going and showing you different people, like the girl on the right, she's looking elsewhere. The girl on the left, she's falling asleep. Again, these are all people, right? But let's make it a bit interesting. Inside real life, if I point to one person and I tell you, hey, your hand's up, so give me what's your question? It's easy. But in programming, you don't actually see the people. It's more like you have to figure out how to address that person without pointing your fingers because you don't have a finger in there to point. This is when we create these objects, we give it variable names, right? All your variables, you could think of it as, for now at least, as a location inside the memory of the computer. A name for that person when you want to call them. A name for that object when you want to address to it, right? In this case, we have three of them. Noah, Aiden, and Madison. So, obviously, these three objects are really the same ones, right? They do all the same actions. The only difference would be They have a few attributes are different. A few of them are white, one of them is black, one of them is a girl, etc., etc. Okay? But they still can't do the same stuff. But to be able to reach or to connect to one that we need to be able to refer to it. In this case, we create a variable. Okay? The same way we created integers, strings, and so forth, so on. So here, we created a variable of type person called Noah, okay? And to create that object, the keyword is to use new, okay? New person, which is still the variable type, and parentheses open and close, okay? We'll do it again in class together, so don't worry about it too much here. So by doing this, we created an object called Noah, and we could refer to it wherever we want, okay? So if I need Noah to do something, I would say Noah dot, okay, that's the keyword here. The dot would access all the stuff that's public. Okay, we'll talk about public, private, and so forth on later on. But currently, just remember, sorry if my video is a bit cut there, but saying Noah dot will get access to everything it has and everything it could do for us. If you guys remember correctly, when we did the console, when we used the console, which is another object, we said, hey, console dot write me something on the console, right? Console dot read something from the console for me. Okay, console dot clear it for me, right? We were specifying the console. Now, if I wanted to tell Madison to do something, I can't use the same variable. It's not the same thing. I need to create a new variable called Madison. Otherwise, it's two different objects, right? So when we get into creating all of this, we'll talk more about blueprints and talk about creating the objects, what can we access, what we can't access, and so forth so on. Alright? So here was Rez. I'll see you guys later. Ciao, guys.